Climbing out of low elo can feel nearly impossible in Siege for multiple factors. So in today's video, I'll be giving you 9 major tips to help you climb out of low elo, so that way you can hopefully rank up fast. The first of these being dedicate more time towards learning. Obviously, being a low rank typically comes with a lack of fundamental knowledge, and people severely underestimate the level of dedication and knowledge needed to improve. So what I recommend doing is setting aside an hour, maybe 2 a day, so that way you can dedicate time into bettering yourself in Siege. Because just like with every other skill, Siege takes time and dedication to really improve. During these 1 to 2 hours that you dedicate each day to improving, try to watch YouTube videos like this one or other tip related videos to try to gather as much information as you can. Go in custom games and look at the maps to try to learn different strategies and angles on them that you've never seen before. Also during these periods, try to play more operators to get a deeper understanding of how to counter them and how to use them. And also use the shooting range to your advantage to learn the recoil patterns of different weapons and to improve your mechanics. Speaking of improving your mechanics, the second major tip I'd give to low elo players is to try to dedicate as much time as you can on your mechanics. And you can do that by following this simple training routine that I'm going to be giving you that's going to help you get your feet wet in Siege, especially if you're very new to the FPS genre. This routine starts out with you going into the shooting range with these settings and practicing once while stationary and a second time while moving. And when you start using these settings, you're likely going to have to start off slow, and you're going to have to slowly build up your speed of your flicks until you're eventually able to switch back and forth between the targets extremely fast. This will help you improve your flicks drastically and will make you a way better player in those scenarios. And then once you've spent about 10 minutes in the shooting range, you can then go into arcade and play one free-for-all or deathmatch. This will get you practice against actual moving opponents and will give you somewhat real experience into how gunfights work in Siege, because players are going to be moving and positioning themselves in very similar ways that they would in a normal match. Then you can jump into quick match or standard and try to combine your mechanics practiced with your gadgets. Take notes of what does work for you and what doesn't, and try to implement those same strategies in rank. If you do those 3 things, which will take about 30 to 45 minutes before every rank session, it'll help you be perfectly warmed up for every match, and it'll also help you improve your mechanics over time because you'll be dedicating a certain amount of time per day towards it. Now, the third tip that can help a lot of low elo players out is to stop being afraid of getting aggressive. A lot of time, low elo players and new players tend to play way too slowly. They crouch around the map un-ADS, and they very rarely try to get aggressive on the enemy team. This oftentimes prevents them from exploiting weaknesses in their enemy's attacks, and it also just puts them at a disadvantage in gunfights because they're never really going to catch anyone off guard by crouching around the map. So just because Siege is considered to be a tactical shooter, don't be afraid to play aggressively. Especially in lower elo, a lot of players struggle going against a very aggressive player or a very aggressive team. So if you can abuse that, you can start dominating in lower elo. And something that can help you be more effective while getting aggressive is to prioritize intel gathering. Throughout a round, between different bursts of aggression, try to throw out drones or also to hop on cams and gather intel before you get aggressive onto the enemy team. This can allow you to call out important gadgets like traps and stuff, so that way you don't walk into a disadvantageous gunfight, and it can also give you the positions of certain defenders, so that way you can pick up kills that you otherwise wouldn't be able to. Trust me, low elo players very rarely take advantage of their drones and their cameras. If you start doing that on a consistent basis, you'll be able to climb out of the lower ranks extremely easily. Now, the next tip I have for new players is to stay calm and try to keep a cool mindset. A lot of low ranked players, because they're scared and not used to the gameplay style of Siege, panic on a consistent basis when they come in contact with an enemy, especially in clutch situations. You need to stay calm and put as most focus into the match at hand as possible. Try not to worry too much and try not to overthink things. You don't want to treat Siege differently from other games you've played. Just because the game's time to kill might be a lot quicker than your average game, you still shouldn't be nervous. If you can manage to keep a level head and not panic, it'll help you have more consistent aim, it'll stop you from whiffing as often, and it'll help you make better decisions. And something that all low ranked players should get used to is being okay with switching operators. A common issue with people in low elo is that they stick to 1 or 2 operators and just main them every single round. They don't really switch it up, and they only really know how to play a couple of operators. This can be a travesty for a couple of main reasons. Firstly, if the enemy team bans the operator that you like to play a lot, then you're going to be completely screwed because you're not going to have any way to perform because you only know how to play that operator. Additionally, if the enemy team brings a ton of counters to your operator, then you're also going to be left in a very similar position because you're not going to be able to take advantage of your operator's gadgets, and you're kind of going to be screwing over your team because you're not going to be bringing the right utility for the job. As a new player, you need to try to dedicate time towards playing a wide variety of operators. You need to be comfortable comfortable on at least 5 to 6 operators, so that way you can have a different response to different situations that the enemy team might bring towards you. Also, you should try to make for sure that the operators you know how to play fill different roles. You want to make for sure you understand how to play at least one hard breacher, for example. You're going to want to know how to play at least one vertical play operator. And then on the defensive side of the coin, you're going to want to know how to play at least one breach denial operator. And you're also probably going to want to know how to play some sort of roamer and some sort of anchor. You want to make for sure that your experience isn't just in one category of operator, so that way you're a more well-rounded player than the rest of your teammates. Now, the 7th tip is kind of similar to the 5th tip, but in a different context, and that is to not let your rank affect you. This goes hand in hand with having a calm mindset, but a lot of low elo players fall victim to the circle of death, as I call it. They know that they're bad at the game, so they try to improve, but as they're trying to improve, they have poor performance, and so then they start getting self-conscious about their poor performance, which causes them to play even worse. You don't want to fall victim to that cycle. Try to be aware that as a low elo player, you're just trying to improve. Don't be ashamed of your poor performance. Even if your team or your opponents are making fun of you, don't let it get to your head, because eventually once you put in the time and you dedicate the effort required, you'll be a great player. If you let this get into your head, it will affect your ability to learn, and it will discourage you from playing the game altogether in a lot of circumstances. Trust me, I've seen many new players quit before they ever even got started because they were self-conscious about their abilities to perform. Trust me, if you let it get to your head, eventually it'll cause you to just end up quitting the game, or you'll start playing it less and less and you'll stop enjoying it. Siege is a video game at the end of the day that's meant to be for your entertainment. Try to keep that in mind and don't take things so seriously, especially at the start. And if you want to get out of low elo extremely quickly, put together a group that you can queue with consistently in a 5-stack, especially ones that are better than you. Reach out to friends, find players in your games, or just reach out on forums to try to find people to play with. There are so many avenues to find teammates. If you're on console, you have Looking for Group. If you're on PC, you can use Discord servers and also Reddit or even Twitter to find other people to queue with. And there's plenty more ways to find people that are in your rank or higher that need teammates. If you can find people to consistently queue with, it will A, help you improve because you'll all be learning together. And especially if the person's better than you, you'll be able to learn off of their gameplay. And it will also just allow all of you to play better because you'll be able to communicate more effectively and you'll be able to do strategies that otherwise wouldn't have been possible. And my 9th and final tip to help you climb out of low elo is to take notes of what your enemy's patterns and strategies throughout the match are. In low elo especially, a lot of the time, your opponents will just have a couple of strategies that they use over and over and over again throughout the match. If you can take note of what they did in previous rounds, you can then base your entire strategies around countering it. For example, if the players you are going against tend to only have 1 or 2 defenders on the bomb site, you can pick Blitz and Finka and rush them to catch them off guard. There are plenty more examples of how you can use this to your advantage to exploit weaknesses in the enemy. But just know that this is very effective and it will help you win more games if you can manage this. Not to mention, this will help you build the habits required to help you do this against higher level players as you climb the ranks, which is important for all players to know how to do. And anyways, that about wraps up today's video. Let me know if one of these tips helped you, or if you have any tips of your own, leave them in the comments down below. I'd love to hear from you. If you enjoyed today's video, I make these content just like this twice a week, so go subscribe to the channel and follow me on Twitter if you don't want to miss the next upload. If you want to watch another video just like this one, a video will be popping up on your screen right now where I'll go over even more tips to help you improve as a player. I'll see you next time, friends, and peace.